Yo, what's cooking YouTube? Piper Downs back at you for another little first impression slash tin opening. I'm gonna go ahead and give the Quiet Nights a shot. You know, like I said earlier, I was so darn pleased with that Westminster. Um, that I just decided, hell yeah, let me do this Quiet Nights tonight. I've really enjoyed these GLP's blends so far, the Stonehenge and the Westminster. I have to imagine that the Quiet Nights is going to be pretty good too, especially all the hype that surrounds it. Ooh, wow. This does look like, a lot like Penzance. It's got a pretty deep, rich Latakia smell too, that's for sure. That is wonderful. See if you guys can get a little bit of a gander at that. It's like a broken flake. Almost just like Penzance. Not quite as dark though. I mean, not because Penzance it's almost totally dark with just a couple of specks of light, whereas this one is like mostly dark with a little bit more than a couple of specks of light. But it's definitely got that nice brownie feel to it. I love that. That's got to be the best kind of a consistency or the best kind of um, a hand texture, a hand feel that you can have with tobacco. It's just soft and springy and fluffy, very supple. Mm. Man, that's just a nice sharp leathery. Mm. I don't smell much Virginias. It smells mostly like Orientals and Latakia. Mm. Yeah, I guess I do smell a little bit of Virginia. Kind of adds a full richness, sweetness to it. And that reminds me of Latakia Flake and Navy Flake. The style of the type of Latakia that is used. Because, I think there are some different kinds of Latakias, and also how they're prepared can really have an effect on them. And this one here reminds me of Special Latakia Flake and the Navy Flake. Now this stuff is, let's see how it is out of the tin, because it's pretty, it's moist. It's moist. It's like the Westminster, It just stays in a nice little clump there for a second, but I think probably 5 minutes of drying time would do wonders. Probably 5 minutes is all it's going to need. But I can tell you right now, just from the way this is looking, I'm really excited about smoking this here in a second. I think people are right. This is like a Penzance. This is like an American Penzance. I'm really psyched about this. The way that looked, the presentation was spectacular right there. I mean, you know something? GLP's is the man. The guy has some damn good blends, man. It's just, and they're quite sought after, from what I understand. Wow, I wish I could get this open. Jeez. I can't get the damn thing open. There we go. I'm like crushing the dang tobacco in there, which is not cool. Let's see here. I'm just going to go ahead and tear these little things off because, to be honest, they can get kind of... I like them. I like that there are little flaps in there, but they can really get in my way. But man, like I said, the presentation on this is spot on. Let me go ahead and show you guys real quick the presentation here. What this stuff looks like. Yeah, look at that. I mean, that just looks excellent, in my opinion. Man, I'm sorry, this is just really awkward for me. But that just looks wonderful to me, to my mind. Like, see that here? Or shoot, let me get that. Man, look at that. Just a nice crumbly flake. Nice crumbly broken flake. Man, I am so impressed with GLPs so far, guys. Because let me tell you something, the Stonehenge flake, the Westminster, and this Quiet Nights is just top-notch stuff. I've smoked the Esotericas, I've smoked the Germains, I've smoked the Dunhills, I've smoked the McClellans, I've smoked pretty much different every end of, or every corner of tobacco. All the major blending houses. Sam Gawith is another one, and I must say GLPs is right up there in the top. For exceptional blends. Now I think Cornell and Deal has some darn good blends, but I haven't had a blend from Cornell and Deal that was on the same level when it comes to flavor and nuances and complexities. And these Cornell and Deal blends, like the Bayou Morning, you guys already know I love that stuff. It's so good. But this stuff is almost like artisanal in my mind. The same thing with Gawith and Germain's. It's like, I know GLP's is pretty much artisanal. He's kind of he does his own thing. And it's not small time, but he's not big time like everybody else, or like some of these other ones. The same thing with Germain's. They're not. It's not Lane or the Scandinavian Tobacco Group. The stuff is more boutique almost. But GLPs is right up there, with the powerhouse English blenders, Germain's and Sam Gawith. And as far as I'm concerned, McClellan, they've got some darn good stuff too, but I just haven't had enough of their blends to really say, one way or another. And I haven't enjoyed enough of their blends. I've had a few and I enjoyed them, but, not nearly as much as I have with Sam Gawith, Germain's, the GLPs. I must say though, I was just smoking some of this 40th anniversary, and this is killer stuff. No doubt about it. It's similar. It reminds me of Bayou Night, actually. Or now that I think about it, Bayou Night reminds me of that. It's like got this really nice retrohale flavor or smell or whatever, however you would refer to that. It's got this really nice retrohale and taste that just keeps me puffing. I just want to keep continuing to taste that flavor. And it's the same way with the Bayou Morning. I just want to keep puffing. It's so good. And it's just darn good stuff, and I'm glad that I've purchased some of these really good blends. And also, I'm gonna go ahead and pack this up in my mirror lined Dr. Graybo. Ooh, the stem needs to be run through. I can already tell just from that little pull there. That wasn't right. But yeah, hopefully this Quiet Nights will be ready. Anyway, all right, guys. Yeah, I was just giving these two, given the Quiet Nights and the Penzance a side-by-side comparison, and I can tell you right now that these are very similar tobaccos. Very similar. I think in the contents and the makeup, definitely. And they're prepared very similar as well. However, the difference, in my opinion, this one is a little bit sharper. Now, what I'm thinking is this stuff here is rather fresh, that this was just tinned within the last 2 or 3 months. This is a year old. First of all, it's been in a tin. It had been in a tin for a year. This was like a 2016 tin. And then also, however long they keep it at Germain's, which is probably a long time. This one is mellower. I can tell. I mean, there's a huge difference. They both have the same sort of the same smells, but this one is more mellow, almost like not perfumey, but a good smell that they would make candles or something. It's very mellow and sweet. A very mellow, sweet, savory flavor or smell. This one's bright and sharp, or it's not bright, but it's very sharp and acrid, I suppose you would say. It's very sharp, and I would attribute that to the age difference. Honestly, I would be willing to bet that this, with a couple years, maybe 1, 2, 3 years of age on it, would be. I bet you it would mellow out to something like this. It'd probably get darker too. And turn into that dark, almost black, the way that Penzance is. It's so darn dark. So, these are very similar tobaccos. They definitely are. And the only differences that I'm thinking, or that I could really, I guess there's more differences than that, but the main difference to me, I couldn't really tell any others, but the main one to me is probably the age, because the Penzance has a mellower, more muted smell. It's like the same smells, but muted and mellower. Whereas, this one is just a little bit more in your face, a little bit more pungent is the word. But excellent smell, though. It smells great. Both of them do. They really do. So I've smoked about half of this bowl, maybe more, of this Quiet Nights. And I'm here to tell you that this is some awesome stuff. And I must say, hearing all the hype, people saying, oh, if you can't get Penzance, Quiet Nights is just as good, if not better. And that, the Quiet Nights is where it's at. And I was hesitant to believe that. Whoops. Judging by how hard Penzance is to get, and how much it costs if you want to get it secondhand, it's either really hard to get or it costs a ton. I just didn't want to believe that there was another blend that could be got just as easy as pie, pretty much anyway, that's just as good, that's right in the same, cast from the same mold practically. And I totally believe it now. I am in 100% agreement with those people. I wouldn't necessarily say it's better than Penzance, but it's as good. And then it has that little bit of extra complexity because of the Perique. So it's got this blend right here has a ton going for it. It's rich. It's deep. Earthy. Smoky. But smooth too. I get no tingling on the tongue, no unpleasant sensations, no unpleasant flavors. Nice smooth retrohale, tons of flavor, guys. Whew. This stuff is good. And I was just looking on tobaccoreviews.com at GLP's selection of tobaccos. And man, I don't know if I've ever seen another blender that just had that many all-star review. Every blend was practically 4 stars out of 4 stars. I mean, he makes some really good stuff. And I've heard a lot about it. His jackknife plug, his triple play plug. I've never had them, but one of my smoking buddy Jeff, he really likes the jackknife plug, and I'm just not so big on the Kentucky dark fired. But he loves it. He loves the dark fired, so that stuff is right up his alley. Mm. I could see myself smoking this on a regular basis. This very well could be in my rotation in the future. This is just great for wintertime, I would say. Sitting around the campfire. Mm. Man, it burns cool. I've been just chooching on it. It burns cool. No tongue bite to speak of. No unpleasant feelings at all. Man, burns good. Packs easy. Um, it's just awesome. It's almost like the flake is almost like Stonehenge flake, but it's a lot of, it's a kick-ass Balkan blend basically. It's like Penzance, but looks like Stonehenge. Mm. Man, this stuff is killer. This stuff is killer. I'm so glad that I bought some. Gotta be honest. I don't think I'll ever. I don't think I'll ever do what I did when this last Esoterica came out because there's so many other good blends. If I can get a hold of some, I'll get it. But I'm not gonna jump through hoops ever again. Um, Man, this stuff is so good. Not only that, but I have quite a bit of Penzance, so I've got enough to last me for probably a year or two. And that's if I smoke it at the rate I've been smoking it. Man, just gets better and better too. This is killer stuff right here. Mm. I was just trying to. Sorry, I'm stretching this out. I just kind of wanted to wait till I got a little further down in the bowl before I let you go. But man, this stuff is killer. All I can say is, it's I like it as much as Penzance, guys, and it's very similar. And when I feel like some Penzance, I'll probably end up just smoking the Quiet Nights, or I may never feel like Penzance. I may just feel like Quiet Nights in the future. Who knows? These are just GLPs is just an excellent blender, and if you haven't given him a shot, I suggest you go check him out. But that's it for me for this first impression, guys. Piper Downs, over and out.